You think being kind is your superpower. You think your warmth, your patience, your willingness to help, you think all of that is building something. Connections, respect, a life where people see your value and treat you accordingly. But what if everything you've been told about kindness is quietly destroying you? Stay with me, because what I'm about to say is going to feel uncomfortable, and that discomfort is exactly the point. There are 5 things you're doing right now, today, probably within the last few hours, that you genuinely believe are acts of kindness. Generous, noble, selfless things. But to the people around you, they're sending a completely different signal. A signal that says, I don't matter. My time doesn't matter. My presence doesn't matter. Treat me however you want. And the worst part, you keep doing them because stopping feels selfish. Stopping feels unkind. Stopping feels like betraying who you are. But here's what nobody is telling you. The kindness that costs you your self-respect isn't kindness at all. It's fear. And fear, no matter how softly it speaks, always leads to the same place. Invisible, overlooked, ignored. So let's talk about what's really happening. The first thing is the over-explaining. Every time someone asks you for something you can't give or don't want to give, you don't just say no. You construct a case, a full defense. You explain your schedule, your energy, your previous commitments, your feelings about the situation. You apologize halfway through the explanation and then apologize again at the end. You need them to understand. You need them to not be upset with you. You need their approval of your boundary before you feel safe having it. But listen to what that actually communicates. It tells people your no is negotiable. It tells them your boundary is a starting point, not a finish line. Every reason you give becomes a door they can push open. You're busy? This is quick. You're tired? Just this once. You have plans. They can wait. You taught them that. Not because you're weak. Because you were never told that a boundary doesn't need a reason to be real. Strong people don't explain their limits. They hold them. And over time, people stop questioning what they've learned will never move. The second thing is absorbing other people's storms as if they're yours to weather. You're the one they call, always. When life gets hard, when relationships fall apart, when the job is suffocating them, when they can't sleep, when they need someone to listen, you answer. You sit with them. You absorb it. All of it. You care, genuinely, deeply. And that's not the problem. The problem is what happens after the call ends. You carry it. Their anxiety becomes background noise in your mind. Their problems follow you into your day, into your sleep, into your quiet moments. You were trying to help them feel lighter. Instead, you made yourself heavier. There's a version of compassion that lifts people, and there's a version that buries you both. You've been practicing the second kind. You can love someone without becoming their emotional landfill. You can care without absorbing. You can listen without losing yourself in someone else's narrative. But that takes discipline. It takes the courage to say, I hear you, and I'm not going to carry this for you. Because carrying it doesn't help them. It just gives them permission to keep setting it down. Real care sometimes looks like silence instead of solutions. It looks like asking, what are you going to do about it? And then letting them answer. The third thing is giving to people who have stopped giving back. You know exactly who I'm talking about. You've known for a while, the friend who's always in a crisis but never available when yours arrives. The person who borrows and forgets. The one who takes your time, your energy, your advice, your money, and who reappears only when they need something else, and still you give. Because saying no feels cruel. Because you tell yourself they're struggling. Because part of you believes that if you give enough, eventually the relationship will become what you need it to be. It won't. Here's what's actually happening in that dynamic. Every time you give without reciprocity, you're not being generous. You're training them. You're confirming that your resources have no limit and no condition. You're teaching them that your yes is automatic, and automatic things don't get appreciated. They get expected. Generosity is not a personality trait you owe to everyone equally. It's something that flows naturally toward people who honor it. When you direct it toward people who don't, you're not being kind. You're being consumed. And the resentment that builds inside you over time, that's the cost of generosity without boundaries. The fourth thing is apologizing for your existence. This one runs deep. This one started long before you noticed it. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to ask. Sorry, I just need a second of your time. Sorry for having a different opinion. Sorry for being here. Every apology you don't owe is a small fracture in how you see yourself. Stack enough of them and you stop believing you deserve space in the room. You start shrinking, softening your voice, softening your ideas, editing yourself before you've even spoken, because somewhere along the way you decided your natural presence is too much, too loud, too needy, too real. But you were never too much. You were just around people who made you feel that way. And now you carry their discomfort inside you and call it politeness. Stop apologizing for thinking. Stop apologizing for needing. Stop apologizing for being the kind of person who feels things deeply and wants things honestly. That's not a flaw. That's the fullest version of who you are. And you've been burying it under apologies for far too long. The fifth thing is chasing approval from people who've already decided how they see you. You've changed your words to match their preferences. You've laughed at things that weren't funny. You've stayed quiet when you had something real to say. You've shrunk your ambitions because someone implied they were unrealistic. You've become a different version of yourself depending on the room, always scanning for what version will be most accepted. And you're exhausted because it never works. The people you're performing for are not paying attention the way you think. And even when they are, their approval never fills the space you carved out waiting for it. Here's the truth that changes everything. The version of you that needs no one's permission is the most powerful version that exists. Not arrogant, not cold, just grounded, settled, secure in the knowledge that your worth was never theirs to determine. When you stop performing, something unexpected happens. The people who were only drawn to your compliance will leave. Let them. And the people who are always waiting for you to arrive as yourself will finally meet you. Now, here's where we arrive at the decision. You can keep doing these 5 things. You can keep explaining your boundaries and absorbing other people's pain and giving to those who only take and apologizing and chasing approval. You can call it kindness. You can call it loyalty. You can call it love. But at some point, in a quiet moment when no one is watching, you'll feel it. The slow, heavy weight of a life built around everyone else's comfort. And you'll wonder how you became so present to other people and so absent from yourself. This is that moment. Not tomorrow. Not when things settle down. Not after one more conversation or one more favor or one more attempt to be liked by someone who isn't paying attention to who you really are. Now, the life you want isn't waiting on the other side of more sacrifice. It's waiting on the other side of more honesty. Honest boundaries, honest limits, honest presence. Showing up as the version of you that doesn't need to explain, absorb, overgive, apologize, or perform. That version is already there. It has been the whole time. You don't need to become someone new. You need to stop hiding someone real. Stop shrinking. Stop explaining. Stop absorbing. Stop giving yourself away piece by piece to people who will never notice you're disappearing. You were never meant to be convenient. You were meant to be unforgettable. Start acting like it.